Grapevine communication is an informal channel of business communication. Grapevine is called so because it spreads throughout the organization in all direction, irrespective of the authority levels. Despite existence of formal channels in an organization, the informal channels tend to develop when people interact with others in an organization. It exists more at a lower level of organization. Grapevine provides a channel for issues not suitable for formal communication. For example, CEO may have a friendly relationship with the production manager. The CEO might tell the production manager about the upcoming takeover on another company by their organization. The production manager spreads such news without the formal announcement to his of this news through the right organizational channel. The company has not yet declared its annual profit, yet rumors spread about the figures of profits of the company and about the amount of bonus that could be declared based on such profits. Any such communication in your organization, you would have seen most of the time Grapevine communication is all around. People talk about it. It is like a rumor backed with some information, something, but it can't be like relied on in any way. So people talk about a lot. When you see more than a formal communication inside the organization with different colleagues, communication happens where people talk about each individual, about works happening, about the way things are in the organization, about the way things are in different other places. All of these communications are called Grapevine, or come under this particular thing. Now let's understand the characteristics of how Grapevine communication actually works. So the few of the characters of Grapevine communication, basically these kind of communications are oral. Right, so people just talk about it. Say I got a news, I say something to somebody might have understood some part of it or add some more part from his or her side, and then it goes ahead. It's like that snowball effect where people just keep adding things, or it depends on, because it's just oral, there is no record on anything, and then the communication just spreads across the organization like wildfire. It spreads so quick overall to everything. Mostly these kind of communications are not documented, right? It is just spoken, it's just communicated, right? The other characteristics of Grapevine communication would be they're open to change. Right, it might start with something in the beginning. As it goes, it keeps changing. Right, as the communication might change, the real message might change, people who are talking might change. That's how the characteristics it works, and it is very quick. As I said, it just spreads like wildfire. The moment someone is aware of something, right, and then they just talk to other, and then they say, okay, this is for you. I mean, not everybody know, but then that goes to another one saying it's just for you, not for everybody, and it just spreads across the organization. This is very, very, very quick. Crosses organizational boundaries, right, wherever it needs to go. Most of the times, Grapevine communication are inaccurate. As I said, it piles up, it adds up, and then it spreads heavily, and people keep adding and removing things according to their conveniences. So Grapevine communication, I could say it's not very accurate, or it's inaccurate. In fact, one of the characteristics of itself is inaccurate. Levels missing due to deletion of critical details, could be different characteristics. Aggregation of most dramatic details. Informal and spontaneous, whatever people feel at that moment, and then they adds up. Supplementary to a formal channel, right? This could also be a supplement to a formal channel. So for example, when there is in a formal channel a communication is passed, a Grapevine supports that, right? It adds to it, and it helps to ensure that everybody in the organization communicates. That's how it works. That's the characteristics over there. It's multi-directional. It could move any way. Mostly intra-organization, right? The communications, or when we say Grapevine communication, it is about the organization, about the people, whatever is happening inside the organization. Might be different offices, might be different cities, might be different countries, but intra-organizational most of the times. Now when such a thing spreads, right, so quickly. There are different ways to manage this kind of communication also. So let's understand, how do we manage the grapevine communication? It is important to understand that it is not possible to completely abolish or stop the grapevine activity in an organization. You cannot just say that staff shouldn't talk to each other, people shouldn't pass a message, people shouldn't inform something that they don't know. You can never completely control. However, there are few things that can be done to cope up or to manage the grapevine, right? They are present full facts. So when you talk about something somewhere, right, always ensure you are talking complete details. Right? You are not giving partial information, because when we give a partial information, other part of information is added in this kind of a communication, and then it spreads. So when an organization communicates anything, right, they need to ensure they present full facts, full details, not partial. Right? Do not try to control or restrict it. See, the moment you try to control or restrict the communication, it spreads more. Right? It's like that spring effect, when you press the spring, as much you try to press, when you release it, it goes that high. Right? A communication like this is like that. You should not try to restrict it or control it. It's okay. This is something that flows. We need to ensure how do we manage it. Use it to supplement a formal channels. So when we know that such a communication is anyway going to go around and people are about to know, it is always good that we nurture this in a particular way. It could be a supplement to a formal channel. Anyway, a formal communication is happening. This can be used as that, and then in that way, a good news could spread across everybody very, very fast. Keep formal talks open and quick. Right? Formal talks should be pretty quick and pretty open, so that people all aware of everything that is there. They are not like partially informed about something, or they cannot ask questions, or they make their own conclusions. Don't allow such communications to spread. Keep it very formal. Keep all the formal talks pretty open and pretty quick. Announce timetable for making important decisions. So when you have a fixed time, always set, say for example, in every monthly, in our all hands meeting, we will discuss about few of our important discussions. So this kind of a grapevine communication spreads across that time or around that time, maybe a little time before and later, but then it is on the important decisions that you're talking about, that where rather you're controlling it for a much larger period. In fact, you're making it more focused the way the communication would go. Openly discuss worst case possibilities, as it is better than letting imagination loose. Now this is something very, very dangerous. The moment you let the imagination loose, you cannot even expect how others could imagine, or to what level they could imagine about things that are happening, that could have happened. So when there is a bad news, when there is a worst case possibilities, when there are tough times, always there. Whenever there is a worst case possibilities, it's always good that you give complete details, right? You discuss a worst case possibilities, as it is better than letting imagination loose, as I said, right? You got to inform everybody very, very openly. An open forum, everyone in a particular meeting room, important, sit and discuss it, saying that this is exactly where the situation is and how do we go about, not letting any space open so that people will imagine by themselves and go haywire. Explain decisions and behaviors that may appear inconsistent or secretive. So most of the time it happens, right? Not everybody can be informed everything. Certain things, when you are working for it, it's not yet finalized, you are not yet in a position to let it go. But then when there is anything that is worked secretively, or where people would see it is inconsistent, they would start making their own thing. So whenever there is any decisions or any behaviors in the organization that might appear inconsistent or secretive, it should be explained to people in detail, so that grapevine communications is controlled or managed. Prevent rumors by providing information through the formal system of communication on important issue, right? Anything which affects people, right? Anything which affects productivity, anything which affects organization are important. So any of these communication which are affecting them, always you should ensure that you do not allow much of a rumor spreading on that. Rather, through a very, very formal system of what you would have in your own organization, through a formal system of communication, pass on all important informations, and whenever you pass information, try to pass it in full facts so that you don't leave a space there. Provide a steady flow of clear, accurate and timely information to employees. So people expect information, people expect to know certain things, right, in time. When they do not know by that particular time, they start making it up or start discussing it up with different people, and then this spreads. So you got to have a fixed and accurate time, timely. You need to provide clear information to your employees. Now, how do you use Grapevine, right? If I could say effectively, there are ways how you can use Grapevine. It can be used to keep employees up to date with organizational policies, matters and plans, and prospects in order to check different speculations. An open door policy avoids of or an open door policy devoid of favoritism helps percolation of ideas. Setting aside time for personal concerns and queries improves time management and productivity. Regular group discussions and brainstorming sessions boost morale and self-confidence as well, as decrease small talks, right? Always keep brainstorming sessions and discuss, and you could use the Grapevine much effective. Managers can use feedback and Grapevine to monitor their effectiveness and identify individuals for a delegation of work. Before decisions are made, opinions on Grapevine can be taken into consideration. This brings in a double benefit of feedback from ground level and employee satisfaction. It helps to identify and make use of key communicators of the group. Like when you know that this is how it happens, you would be in a position to identify. I was working in a retail firm, and in the firm, it so happens we go to different cities and we visit different stores. So when we visit the stores, we do an audit. And when we do an audit, we check everything, and most of the times, I find out that store is not very, very cleanly maintained, because the kind of products which we are selling there, store is supposed to be maintained very, very neatly. So where I find the store is not maintained neatly, as the organization says, right, we just get on our feet and then clean the stores completely. Now, and then the staff will not do anything, because if they would have done it before, that's the logic. So every time I visit, I land up cleaning stores. And then, my first day of a store visit always landed up cleaning stores. Then I was like, oh my God, I got to find out a solution. Then I figured out that how well I can use Grapevine effectively to ensure I solve this problem. What I do sometimes is I inform them that, some people are on visits. Some people in the organization are on visits. I just give the information. Now, when I give an information, some people are on visits for different audits. Every store ensures that the store is like clean. The store is like spick and span, and there is nothing that could go wrong, because they're audited on it, they're scored on it, their performance depends on it, their incentives depends on it, right? Now, it's just maintained pretty well. And when we visit there, I now don't land up cleaning stores, but then doing much more productive thing, which I have planned my visit for. I was trying to effectively use Grapevine in this particular case. Right. So it can be used to monitor what is happening in the organization also. The Grapevine can be used to give new ideas a trial run. That's a lot of effective use of Grapevine. See how well it can be used at your ways. Now let's try to understand the advantages and disadvantages of Grapevine communication. Advantages. There are many. PD spread of information. Right? If you try a lot to make it into a formal way, Grapevine communication, Grapevine channels carry information rapidly. The information passes from one person to another rapidly. Right, receipt of fast feedback could be the second, advantage. Managers get to know the reactions of their subordinates on their policies. The feedback obtained is quick, comprehend, to formal channel of communication. Imagine you have run a process, and then after that you run a survey about the process, a formal way of communication. and then you get a response of it and see how much of input you could get, how much of learnings you could get from that survey. In the other hand, try talking to people and see how did you feel the process is going, were you feeling any challenges. When you try to use effectively Grapevine communication, the kind of feedback you get is much faster, right, and much quicker, because quick feedback in a newer thing will help you to accelerate your work, to change wherever required and then move ahead. The next advantage is sense of unity. Grapevine creates a sense of unity among the employees who shares and discuss their views with each other. It helps to develop group cohesiveness. Right, when people are allowed to talk and then they pass information, communicate between them, which is not a very formal one, there is a kind of a unity that, a sense of unity, as I said, it's built among them. It's very, very important for the organization or for the employees to be together at one point of time, and this works wonderful during this kind of communications. Provides emotional support. Grapevine serves as an emotional supportive value, always. Right, when people are in their they need emotional support, it's the easiest ways, right? You communicate to people, you communicate different messages, things going to happen well, things are not going to happen well. Different ways of communication works out, and then this provides a lot of emotional support to different people in the right time, which it's very difficult for a formal channel to get there most of the times. Free expression of ideas are another advantage, right? Grapevine serves as a means of free expression of ideas by employees. Now this is where the employees connect with the organization as well. Every thought they have, every feeling they have, they might be good, not good, bad, whatever it is, that's a different way to look at it. But people will open up, right? They will express. When anybody express their thoughts and ideas, they slowly join the gang, and then they're truly truly connect themselves with the organization. So this expression of ideas is very free when it comes to Grapevine communication. Supplement to a formal channel is a next advantage. When it says supplement to a formal channel, there should be a formal channel of communication, but if you effectively use Grapevine communication which supplements this, a lot of things can be done. The Grapevine serves as a supplement to the formal channels of communication. The Grapevine serves as a supplement in those cases where formal communication does not work. Psychological satisfaction. Grapevine disappears stress and tension and makes the work environment healthy. It is a channel of articulating frustrations, fears, reservations, and different emotional outbursts that happen, right? It works wonderfully as during this part. Imagine when you are very stressed at your work and you are like tired, full of tension, suddenly someone comes and then you have that little chit chat, you talk about different things in the organization, you suddenly feel you are a little out of stress, you're a little out of tension, you can get back on job and it works. So Grapevine is that way, they're very, very good stuff. It helps to build relationship. Now that's the other advantage. Grapevine helps to develop personal relationship beyond the purview of hierarchy which could develop, right? It's not always hierarchy that works in an organization. The kind of relationship, let it be a senior, a junior, a subordinate, or a boss, or let it be just two peers or people from two different departments altogether, right? The kind of relationship, if you want to be developed, right? The wonderful positive relationship that you want to develop, Grapevine helps a lot for that. Creative ideas. Ideas and expectations in Grapevine prove invaluable for decision making and planning, right? You could get a lot of creative ideas. Imagine a situation when I set up a formal meeting and call many of the people and I say, okay, I'm planning for a particular thing, let's brainstorm, I need some ideas from you. What do you think the chances of getting inputs? Versus when I say, okay, something like this is happening in the organization, whoever feels they have some thoughts and then we can get back. And then in small groups, we just try to collect different information of what people are thinking. Lot of ideas could be there. Because many a times it so happens, one has a thought, one has an idea, but then they stop themselves looking at people around, oh, I might be ridiculed, I might not be, my ideas might not be as good as the other, and we just stop ourselves. Grapevine communication helps us to come out of that, right? It just passes the idea because they don't even want to inform whose idea is what, but then if the idea could work, then why not? Those are the different advantages of a grapevine communication. When it comes to disadvantages, yes, there are definitely few which we need to be mindful of. Partial information is the first disadvantage of grapevine communication. The grapevine carries partial information at times as it is more based on rumors. Thus, it does not clearly depict the complete state of affairs. Right? Imagine a new person coming in the organization, and somebody would have had some partial information about something, and he informs. The other one just takes it like, okay, this is how it happens over here, which might be or might not be actually, good in a way. Not trustworthy. The second disadvantage of this grapevine communication is it is not trustworthy. Grapevine does not follow official path of communication, and hence it is not always trustworthy. It is spread more by gossips and unconfirmed reports. Hampering of productivity could be the other disadvantage. Grapevine communication may hamper productivity of employees as they spend more time talking rather than working. Now this happens a lot. It's like any other addiction. Every 5 minutes nowadays people are addicted to take up their mobiles, look at the WhatsApp, what's happening, the recent message. Our attention span coming down because of that. So typically, in a very similar way, grapevine communication could also hamper productivity because people enjoy those discussions, those conversations which are much more than a formal work. It could lead to hostility. Grapevine may generate hostility among employees due to spread of gossip and rumors. Right? When such things happen, people tend to get hostile. It could hamper goodwill of the organization. Now this is something got to be very, very careful about. The grapevine may hamper the goodwill of the organization as it may carry false negative information about the high-level management of the organization. Just someone feels that way and then they spread. It will overall kill the goodwill of the organization. Distorts information. Grapevine distorts information as it is unofficial, informal, unauthenticated. Hence, information may be distorted in accordance with personal perceptions and relationships, which is pretty sad way, right? The lack of accountability is also there. Is also one of the disadvantages in grapevine communications. Rumors have no source point, right? Informal communication does not allow laying responsibility on anyone, and in case of an issue, it is not possible to find the source of information. This you might have heard so many things. In general offices, we discuss, I heard about this. And then you have different points. I came to know about this. And then you don't know how the message could be in whichever direction it goes. But then if you try to get deeper and try to figure out what is it that you have come across, right? Like from whatever message you're saying, from whom did you come across? Who told you about this? You could never find the person behind the message from where it started. The lack of accountability is definitely one of the advantages. There are advantages, there are disadvantages, but if you learn how to use effectively, it could become a tool which will help you to communicate in your organizations.